Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Alen Babic, Eric Molina, Thomas Carty also in action, as well as Johnny Fisher. So this was originally the Dillian White Otto Wallin card, but as we know, White off the bill injured. This fight card on DAZN being headlined by Mary McGee and Chantel Cameron. So this is a last minute preview. As you can see, Alen Babic on screen, Eric Molina all weighed in. So Babich himself, 214 pounds and a quarter on the scale. Eric Molina, 257, and that is a career high. Only a pound or so up from his last fight, but there has been actually a creep in Molina's weights in recent years. And I think people forget that he originally, when he was campaigning at heavyweight, was, 200 to 220 for a considerable period of time. Even when he fought Anthony Joshua 5 years ago, 237. So, not sure how well this bodes for Eric Molina, but let's face it, he's being brought in to be a resume build the fight for Alen Babic, 39 years old, former two-time title challenger against Joshua, also against Deontay Wilder. He does have some power. He can land punches, as we saw against Fabio Wardley, even at his sort of advanced sort of age in his career. He is still dangerous to some extent. Wardley was hurt by a punch that landed by Molina. Will Alen Babic suffer the same fate? Bearing in mind, Babich has made it clear during fight week, and we'll cover some of what he said, that he's going to go after Molina, and that he thinks it's not going more than one round, that he's going out there to take him out. So you can see here on the right hand side of the post, it says, for the average Joe, I'm forever will be that guy who comes from nothing, and I will never change. We will rise together, but the mentality stays the same. Kill or be killed. I know I would appreciate if someone came along and boxed me while I was working doors. I will give you a show come tomorrow. Thank you for coming or preparing for a night of boxing at home. We are all one. Savage Army. I think Alen Babic, even though I think for a lot of hardcore boxing fans, we know that he's got his limitations, but he is entertaining, and he does know how to draw people in. He knows how to get people talking about him, his antics. So it is slightly gimmicky, but he does deliver on the entertainment front, and this sort of fight should be no different, because maybe he will walk through a little bit of adversity, because if he comes forward, basically letting his hands go, there's going to be opportunities for Molina, who has caused upsets before. Thomas Adamek was starched by Eric Molina. That was an unexpected win for Molina. He obviously has rocked guys like Deontay Wilder in their fight. That was a big left hook. He does have punching power. But for Molina, actually, we'll get to his quotes, because he has been saying, and this is in fight week, you can see here, so I will devastatingly KO Babich. So we'll get to the quotes here. It's really not easy to travel as far as we do at short notice, but I firmly believe that I have what it takes to knock this guy out on Saturday. I look at him as a reckless fighter. I look at him as somebody that has no respect for the heavyweight division. This heavyweight division has a very brutal way of humbling fighters at different times. It's a tough lesson that a lot of fighters have to learn. I've learned it. Anthony Joshua has learned it. Deontay Wilder has learned it. The best of the best have learnt it. Babich is going to have to learn that one day to respect this division. He could throw 100 punches in one round. He's going to need to throw 100 punches to get me out of there in one round. I've just got to throw one punch, and I will devastatingly knock him out. Whatever he thinks in his mind is up to him. I just focus on my energy and my short camp. I know exactly what I've got to do. I'm not here to talk, actually, it sort of goes on a little bit, but you get the gist of it anyway. He's been talking it up as he just needs to land something. And actually, I've seen Eddie Hearn basically doing the same, saying that this is a step up for Alen Babic compared to recent competition for the likes of Mark Bennett, etc. I mean, Molina's okay. It's probably better than Lucas Brown, but it's not a massive step up from Lucas Brown, and Eric Molina is pretty washed at this point. And he has been finding ways to, when things get tough, he finds a place to lay down on the canvas when he takes one or two shots and sort of things end meekly. He sort of entered that territory of don't really want to or need to see him sort of fight again. So if he sort of meekly gives up after sort of talking like this, well, he'll definitely confirm himself as, how much credit can you really get for beating this guy at this stage of his career if he is going out softly? And there were some question marks about the way that fight with Fabio Wardley ended. He sort of ended that one quite meekly as well, and we've seen that previously as well, even in that title challenge against Anthony Joshua. He looked like a deer in the headlights and eventually sort of went down, and quite easily. So, I mean, I could see him trying to, and it sort of seems to be the pattern of his fights. He looked to land something, but as soon as he's put enough credibility into the fight, all of a sudden he's out of the fight. So I'm expecting that pattern to continue again. But if Alen Babic can go in there and decimate him in one round, it'll be entertaining, but it won't really prove much. So I think it is careful matchmaking. Molina has some danger attached to him because he can punch. But there is this talk, and Molina has mentioned it here, 13 days notice, all that sort of stuff. Well, that's the sort of fighter he is now. You should be in shape and ready to roll and up for these sorts of calls at late notice, because you are now in that camp of a late notice opponent. You've got some credit attached to your name because what you've done previously and having those 2 title challenges, but you need to be ready for the call. So he is a career heaviest. It probably doesn't lend itself well to this going any length of time, given he is, 257 pounds on the scale. Babich a little heavier, 4 pounds heavier than his last fight, 214. So, I think this is not going to go too long. This is the co-main event to the headliner, which is Chantel Cameron versus Mary McGee. Molina to find a place on the canvas at some point. But Babich he's been saying all sorts of stuff this week, and you may have seen some of the comments. He says, I rate Molina for being here, but I don't rate him as a tough test of mine. Well, let's face it, he's not really. At this stage, it's good matchmaking, it's a resume builder. For me, this is the way that I see it. I know some people will wax lyrical, and Eddie Hearn's been talking Molina up, but he's doing his job as a promoter. Alen Babic is at least calling this down the line. He says, I really don't think you can fight me on 10 days' notice. He said, I don't respect the heavyweight division, but he took the fight and training for what? To be a fitness trainer? I think I'm going to smash him, and I'm going to do it for my brother Dillian Whyte. I want to be knocked out. How can you be fearful when I want to be defeated? I crave it. Please, somebody defeat me. I love it. I want to take the O from my record. I don't like it. F-U-O. I box for the average Joe. I don't just box for the boxing fanatics. You will value me. It's just a matter of time. Please come out and support me. I will give it all. I'll be reckless. And here it is again, the 13-day notice thing. My wife and team helped me prepare, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, we'll move on from this one, but Alen Babic by knockout, but it won't surprise me if Molina catches him with something and he eats something. Am I expecting Babic to be stopped and knocked out by Molina? No. I think Eric Molina kind of knows his role now, that he's this guy that's been brought in, being overpaid to come in at short notice, and he'll find a spot on the canvas within a couple of rounds. I think that's just the way it's going to go. So Johnny Fisher, he is facing Alvaro Torreiro. So actually, if you look at Torreiro here, 236 pounds. That's about 20 pounds less than his last fight, which was only, a couple of months ago. That was against Tommy Welsh. He also recently fought another matchroom prospect in Solomon Dakers. Johnny Fisher, he was a pretty trim 242 pounds, so he's a pretty big dude, but he looked in good shape. And this really is just another sort of get in there, get some experience, get a round or two, but he is going to stop Torreiro. In contrast to the Dakers fight and also Tommy Welsh, Johnny Fisher is going to go in here and bulldoze Alvaro Torreiro. But it'll be interesting to see what differences, what improvements, what little wrinkles Fisher is adding to his game, because that's the progression we want to see. But he's come forward, sort of steamroll, this level of opposition at this stage of his career. So it's not a huge test, but it's an appropriate test at this stage of his career. And it's worth noting, he sold a lot of tickets for this fight, which is at the O2. I think at last count, and this was a few days ago, it was well over 1,300 tickets. So he is a ticket seller. He does have some support behind him. And when you do hear him speak and talk about boxing, life in general, and sort of coming into the sport, there is something really authentic about him. And he does have this sort of understated charisma. So he is a likable fighter, and I could see himself building a fan base as he sort of progresses through here. But in terms of some of the quotes from the press conference this week, massive thank you to everyone who supported me and to those who are coming Saturday night. Big thank you to Eddie for keeping the show on, because there would have been a lot of angry people in Romford looking for you somewhere. My dad's been a massive help. Up until 2 and 3 in the morning, stressing while doing his job, so I've got to give him a massive thank you. None of it matters unless I put on a good performance on Saturday night. We've been working hard in the gym with Mark Tibbs, Jimmy Tibbs, and the whole team. It's now down to me to do the business. Everything else has been laid down. It's now time for me to put on a good performance. That's going to be the challenge for this fight. We've been working very hard in the gym to measure my distance correctly. I've been sparring very well. I was sparring with Fury up in his gym before this as well. As you said, he's a game fighter and comes to fight. I think this will, and ambition he's got, it's my job to crush it. And when he comes forward and tries to let his hands go, my speed and power will be telling. He will feel it in full force. So moving on, the other heavyweight fight on the card, Thomas Carty. So this is the Irish heavyweight. So just as the comment comes up, you see here, he's a pretty thick-set sort of guy. So, 6'2", 6'3". This is his second pro fight. His first fight was actually, back in May in Belgium. So, he's made his way onto a matchroom card here. And that's via his association with Dillian Whyte. So, Thomas Carty has, in the past year or so, been a very in-demand and popular sparring partner. So as he mentioned in the press conference this week, he was working with Derek Chisora a year ago as Chisora prepared for Usyk. He was in Anthony Joshua's camp when Joshua was preparing for Usyk. He was in Hrgovic's camp while Hrgovic was preparing for, Radonic, and also in Dillian Whyte's recent camp, which obviously was a decent length of time that he was there. But so in demand, and also from what he's posted on social media, I wasn't aware of this until he posted it, that he's grateful for my manager, Dillian Whyte, providing me with this opportunity. Weigh in tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. So obviously he's now linked in with Dillian Whyte. So this may have happened in the course of this training camp. And obviously joining on with Whyte gets an opportunity, second pro fight. He can fight to a bigger sort of audience. So at the moment, relatively unknown by a lot of boxing fans in general. But actually, his slot on the card is not fantastic. Where is it? He's going to be on the portion that's before the main card. He's, I think, the first fight out of the gate at about 4:50 p.m. UK time. So that's on the before the bell portion. But here is his quote over the last year. Okay, it was just basically sort of said that. Made my debut in Belgium in May, but over the last year I've racked up loads of rounds with quality fighters, so I feel well experienced. I do need the rounds in the ring. I do feel as though I've gained massive experience over the last year sparring these guys, seeing what level they're training and where they are at. So it's going to be interesting to sort of see him and where he's at. But judging by the weigh-in, so I was a little surprised because he was 255 pounds, which was about 7 pounds more than his last fight. But for a guy sort of his height, relatively thick set, he's in good condition. You can see here he's not fat or anything like that. But I do wonder if that is a little on the sort of heavy side long term. But he is sort of that sort of build where he does carry this well. Obviously, he's got a decent amount of muscle, but obviously a compact and solid sort of guy. But going forward, I would have thought under 250 would be sort of suitable. But for this opponent, which is Igor Vasiljevs, who's from Latvia, his opponent was 221 pounds on the scale, you can see here. It's not going to matter. So this is a fight where it's just a showcase fight, going to go in there and do a number on this guy, probably stop him. Anyway, and that's where it is, 450 Matchroom YouTube channel. So, final preview. So, Carty to win. Also, Fisher to win. I'm picking these guys by stoppage. Alen Babic to win as well. Will it be within one round, as he says? Well, we will see, but I'm sure whatever's going to happen, it'll be entertaining. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.